I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this.
We have a new thing in LA called follow home robberies, where gang members stake out nice restaurants and then follow home the people who leave in expensive cars and force their way into their houses. That's why Paris Hilton now drives a 2009 PT Cruiser and eats at Sbarro.
Bill Maher is back on the offensive, and this time, Gavin Newsom is right in his crosshairs. Maher is laying the blame for California's current trajectory squarely at the feet of the state's leadership, and Mayor Karen Bass isn't escaping the heat either. This isn't just a rant. It's a forensic breakdown of the policies and political posturing that have turned the Golden State into a national cautionary tale. It's sharp, it's provocative, and it doesn't pull any punches. Strap in, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the raw truth behind the headlines.
The LA City Council voted that every homeless tent had to be removed from dozens of locations, yet every freeway overpass still looks like history's saddest Coachella. The homeless are both preyed upon and, frankly, a concern that they will do God knows what. You go out for a run in your neighborhood and you have to wonder whether that guy eyeing you on the corner is going to be this guy or this guy.
Maher kicks things off with a searing look at the humanitarian crisis on the streets of Los Angeles and beyond. He points out a glaring irony. While city councils authorize the removal of encampments, the problem only seems to intensify. Tents vanish from one block only to reappear on the next in a never-ending cycle. Maher asks the question everyone is thinking. If these high-priced strategies are actually working, why are the numbers still climbing? The spotlight falls directly on Newsom and Bass. Critics argue that the administration's approach relies too much on massive budgets and polished PR, while the actual results remain tragically thin. Billions are being spent with very little oversight, leaving residents to watch their neighborhoods decline. Maher's frustration mirrors that of the taxpayers caught between compassion and a total lack of order. For him, good intentions are no longer an excuse for failing results.
A day doesn't go by where you can't find video of the latest smash and grab robbery, where thieves in broad daylight just smash the front windows of ritzy stores and take all the jewelry they can carry. They went to Jared.
Beyond the housing crisis, Maher turns his attention to the breakdown of public safety and the wave of retail theft hitting California's urban centers. Many argue this didn't happen by accident, but is the direct result of specific policy choices. Maher suggests the state has adopted a posture that feels increasingly soft on crime, seemingly prioritizing the comfort of offenders over the safety of the public. We've all seen the footage. Individuals walking out of stores with arms full of merchandise, confident that the consequences will be non-existent. Maher mocks the idea that lighter sentencing acts as a deterrent, noting that it has actually emboldened the chaos. As stores close their doors and communities feel less secure, law-abiding citizens are the ones left paying the price. In Maher's view, empathy without accountability creates a vacuum where disorder is allowed to thrive.
And when did they legalize shoplifting? There used to be shame in shoplifting, or at least some skill. Now criminals just brazenly walk out of Walgreens, again in broad daylight, with a trash bag full of aisle 3, while the security guard just watches. They have to keep even the most mundane products all caged up. CVS isn't a store, it's a zoo for teeth whitening strips.
Maher traces the root of this issue back to the decision to reclassify thefts under $1,000 from felonies to misdemeanors. While the goal was to reduce prison populations, Maher argues the real-world fallout has been impossible to ignore. It didn't take long for people to realize that the penalties were negligible, leading to a surge in brazen shoplifting. This has forced retailers into a fortress mentality, locking up everyday essentials like soap, snacks, and medicine behind glass partitions. Now, honest customers have to wait for staff assistance just to buy a tube of toothpaste. To Maher, this isn't progress or justice reform. It's a systemic failure where the public is inconvenienced, while repeat offenders act with a sense of total immunity.
San Francisco in the last few years has seen 11 Walgreens and 6 CVS stores just give up and close because that town seems simply beyond law, which is heartbreaking because I, like so many people, love that city, and I don't think it's corny to admit, yes, I left my heart in San Francisco. Also, my wallet and iPhone.
The critique doesn't stop at retail theft. Maher also dives into the daily anxiety Californians face regarding their personal property. He describes a scenario familiar to many: leaving your car for a few minutes only to return to shattered glass and missing belongings. While this used to be an anomaly, smash and grabs have become a grim new normal. Los Angeles continues to see staggering numbers of vehicle-related crimes, maintaining its reputation as a hotspot for burglaries. Even in San Francisco, where some reports claim a dip in numbers, the psychological toll on the public remains high. Maher isn't just citing statistics. He's highlighting the disconnect between the optimistic reports from Sacramento and the lived reality of people who feel abandoned by their local government.
Bay Area citizens have been complaining in recent years about all the human feces in the streets, but now the streets are full of something else. They call it San Francisco snow. It's glass, piles and piles of shattered glass everywhere from car windows being smashed. It's so routine to have this happen to any parked car that people purposefully leave the windows down and the glove compartment open so thieves can see there's nothing of value. Or they leave a note on the car politely assuring the thief that there's nothing worth stealing and please don't break the windows.
The situation has reached a point of absurdity in the Bay Area, where drivers have resorted to leaving signs in their windows pleading with thieves, "Please don't break in. There is nothing inside." Maher points out that this isn't a life hack. It's a sign of a society in retreat. Law-abiding citizens are being forced to adapt to crime because they no longer expect the state to prevent it. Some even leave their windows rolled down entirely to save themselves the cost of a repair bill. Maher argues that this is the inevitable result when leadership loses touch with reality. When people no longer feel that the law protects them, they stop trusting the system and move into survival mode. It's a clear sign that the current institutions are failing to meet the moment.
What is so disturbing here is not just that there's more crime and mayhem, it's the audacity of it all. Like there's no lines anymore that can't be crossed. Like don't walk on a stage during a live show. Or don't Mike Tyson.
Maher issues a stern warning. California is approaching a tipping point where the social contract begins to unravel. When laws are no longer enforced, public behavior shifts accordingly. Actions that were once unthinkable are now happening in broad daylight, often recorded on camera without any fear of retribution. For the average Californian, this creates a toxic mix of resentment and helplessness. They follow the rules and pay their taxes, yet they are the ones facing the risks and the costs. Meanwhile, those who break the law feel empowered by a system that refuses to hold them accountable. Maher frames this not as a failure of the people, but as a total collapse of executive leadership.
It's also, yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. But when it's not on fire, it's really quite lovely. And it's my home. And stupid as its origin may be, it's not going anywhere. Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this.
There is also a massive disconnect between the cost of living in California and the quality of life provided. Despite having some of the highest tax rates in the nation, Maher argues the state's outcomes are consistently underwhelming. With record-breaking revenue flowing into the state, basic infrastructure should be world-class, yet it often falls short. He uses the state's handling of wildfires as a prime example. Every year, the same tragedies unfold in the same regions, followed by the same delayed responses and lack of preparation. For Maher, this is a symptom of deep-seated mismanagement. He questions how a state with so much wealth can remain so unprepared, leaving taxpayers feeling like they are funding a system that fails them when it matters most.
When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you got to do that before the fire. At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2011.
The recurring wildfire crisis is perhaps the ultimate symbol of this frustration. Year after year, lives are upended and homes are lost. Yet the leadership seems to learn nothing. Maher's anger isn't directed at the weather, but at the refusal to implement real solutions like better forest management and infrastructure upgrades. Instead of proactive change, the public is given the same recycled excuses every season. Bill Maher's critique of California is relentless because he believes the situation demands it. From the streets of LA to the hills of the Bay Area, the state is grappling with a cascade of avoidable crises. High taxes, rising crime, and a sense of growing disorder have left the public exhausted. Maher's commentary is a wake-up call, sharp, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.